know, life is strange. You have a successful life. You have a family, you have people who depend on you, you have a job, people are excited to work with you, they know you know your business, but then at some point in time, something just seems to be missing. You start living life mechanically. You start doing what needs to be done, not because it's what you want to do, it's because what's expected of you. You still come across as being successful. You still support your family. You still support your community. But something just doesn't feel right. And what is it? What is it that doesn't feel right? I think that just because you're not living the life that you were meant to be. You're not living the life that you visioned. When you started your new job and you started your new family, everything was exciting. Everything was new. It was challenging. And you did what you had to do and you were happy. But over time, you begin to realize that you're just going through the motions. You no longer enjoy your job. You're happy that your family is secure. You're happy that your wife is happy, but something just doesn't feel right. And I believe that part of you that's not feeling right today is that you have buried your visions, your dreams, and your drives. What once motivated you, creativity, what once moved you, passion. It's just not there. You're just going through the motions. And these motions in your job, these motions outside of your family, they're beginning to bleed over into that part of your life. And I ask you why? What did you once upon a time dream of doing before you decided you wanted to be adult? What what were you working toward? What did you go to school for? What got you out of bed in the morning? The visions of your youth. I know of a man that in high school had an open period, and he took a photography class. And he really, really enjoyed that photography class, and that was something that he wanted to do. And what happened is he went to college, and his family encouraged him, pushed him, showed him reason why he needed to go to business. He graduated from college with a business degree, and he found a job working for a multiple franchise owner of Domino Pizza. He managed these different restaurants and he was successful. The person he worked for made money, and he kept getting promoted and promoted, and he became a general manager. And he did like the challenges. Sometimes he went outside the business model and challenged his employees with some imaginative thought. But still, in the back of his mind, there was something missing. He was successful. He was rewarded. The people he worked with respected him. He didn't have to fight to get people to do the job that they were supposed to do. He was so motivated that he got them to do what they were wanting to do. But there's something missing. And one day, he took a bonus and bought a camera. He started shooting pictures. Started learning how to manipulate the pictures in Photoshop. And over time, there was more excitement. There was more enjoyment in his life. He took walks, took pictures. He came home. He manipulated them. He took trips and took his camera with him. And all of a sudden, his friends started noticing that he was making beautiful pictures. He was creating something that was great. And people at his job actually began to notice that there was more smile, there was more original thinking. And eventually, he started selling his photography, and he was able to build that photography business into a real business where he didn't have to be general manager of multiple dominoes. And he spent all his time taking pictures, and he built a real big business. And the thing to realize is that he was rewarded by going to business school about running a business. So when he did have the time to invest in learning photography, and when he started his photography business, he didn't have to learn business. He already knew it. He could focus on the art. He could focus on his vision. He could focus on his dreams. So what I need to ask of you, what is the dream that you put aside because of the season of life that you're in? When you took on responsibilities, when you took on a new job, when you took on a family, a mortgage, car payments, what did you leave behind? Doesn't have to be photography. It doesn't have to be artsy. But what did you leave behind to become the person that you are today? And how can you take that vision? How can you take that vision today and become that person you want to be? Now, the thing you need to remember is you didn't get to where you are today overnight. And you're not going to get where you're going overnight either. It's going to take time. It's going to take small incremental pieces of time, of energy from you to start moving the momentum from where you are to where you want to be. Right now, look at the big Venn diagram. Here's your life. And all of a sudden, here's this dream, a small little circle that becomes part of that Venn diagram. And that sliver is just so little. But you can find happiness. You can find solace in that piece of your life. And as you get more comfortable, you overcome learning curves, re-evaluating, re-becoming of what you thought you could be. You now can make that part of the Venn diagram bigger. And as you make it bigger, that sliver becomes bigger. And you become happier, not only in what you're doing over here, but you now have purpose. You now have a reason. You have something that gets you up. Today, I'm going to go learn more about becoming what I wanted to be before life got in its way. And you don't have to blow up the life that you have right now. That's the most important thing. I think that's a mistake many people say. I hate my job. I want to be a guitar player, so I'm going to quit my job and focus all my time on being a guitar player. And then all of a sudden, you can't make your house payment. All of a sudden, your spouse decides that there's more to life than supporting your dreams. So everything falls apart. It blows apart. So it's that fear of life blowing apart that keeps you from moving on to becoming who you want to be. But the thing to remember is who you are today is not who you were yesterday and not who you're going to be tomorrow. You just got to realize it. It's that journey, little by little by little. Get these two circles of your life more and more in line. It will help you relieve the frustrations of not living the life that you think you should be living and motivating those parts of your brain that are creativity, that create things, that give you purpose, that gives you reasons to get up in the morning. And it's small, small things. But you got to first identify where your frustration is. And your frustration is that there's something in your life today that is not becoming who you dreamed of being. But you're successful. You don't want to blow that up. So little by little by little, you grow. You grow this another part of yourself. Not to cut this aside part of life away, but to enhance this part of life. And as you get better at this, as you learn to put them all together, much like my photography friend, you can start incorporating what you learned over here into here and kind of merging them together. Because in reality, in the corporate world, everybody grows up to be the CEO, become the boss of themselves. But if you start living these visions you had in your youth, you start becoming motivated in growth, building something bigger than yourself over time. 10, 15 years, took you 10, 15 years to get to where you are now. You will have a life that is just open to so many possibilities because you took the time to do it right. You took the time to develop these skills not overnight, but over time, and merging everything and figuring out a way how to coexist within your duties and responsibilities and your dreams. Again, it doesn't happen overnight. And it takes consistent work. And there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. There's going to be lefts and rights. Anything but a straight beam. But as long as you have a vision of becoming a photographer, a guitar player, a business owner, teaching the world a better way to live, as long as you have that little thing going, and let it grow and fertilize it, great things can happen. But it won't happen if you decide to live within your frustration, doing what you got to do, not out of obligation, not out of desire, but doing what you got to do because that's what adults do. That's what responsible people do. They don't live the dreams of their kids. That was just silly stuff. But there are people out there that have done what they have to do to survive, to become who they want to be. I mean, you can look at any successful actor, maybe not any, but you can hear stories. Robert Duvall, Dustin Hoffman, Gene Hackman. They were all in New York City as young actors waiting tables, but they kept their focus, did what they had to survive to make money to pay rent to feed them, but they also took the time to invest in their art. And you can do the same thing no matter what it is, but you can't throw away what you have now. You're successful, but you can sit down and gradually shift all of that. So it's not an easy, it's not an easy journey, but even if you stay where you are, that's not going to be an easy journey either. But you can fine tune the edges of the uncomfort by becoming the person that you were meant to be, a person not only in line with your responsibility, but in lines with your visions, your dreams, and your ambitions.